almost immediately after I was sworn in as the premier, oil prices started to fall, right? Essentially collapsed in the 4 months after, between September and January of this year. And so, one of the reasons that drew me back to public life was I was concerned about the state of Alberta's finances already, because there had been a significant deterioration in Alberta's finances over the last decade. So I think it's no secret in Canadian public finance. And so I was concerned about that, amongst other things. And so, I find myself as a new premier, oil prices collapse, and it essentially opens up an $18 billion crater in Alberta's public finances. And if you take the time to go through the budget, you'll find that there's $18 billion of oil revenue missing over the course of the next 5 years. If you compare what we now project to what we projected before, so $18 billion is a lot of money, right? On top of that, there's $25 billion of unfunded infrastructure obligations, right, in the capital plan. So, taken together, there's like $43 billion of government commitments, government obligations that are not funded. So this is a serious challenge, right? And so we set about the process of analyzing what to do about it, and assessed that if you did nothing, there is a school of thought that you just do nothing, wait for oil prices to bounce back, right? If you do that, there's a $7 billion deficit this year, $6 billion next year, and $4 to $5 billion thereafter as kind of a structural problem on an ongoing basis. So these are serious challenges, and so the reason I've been saying that this is the most serious circumstances we've faced in a generation in this province is because we've got the economic consequences of collapsing oil prices and the effect on jobs in the province. We're bleeding jobs. We have lost like 40,000 good-paying jobs in the first 3 months of this year, replaced only by part-time employment. But we've lost 40,000 high-paying energy industry-related jobs. So we had all that to grapple with. And then we have the question of what do you do about our public finances? And so we spent a lot of time as a government looking at this and coming up with a plan. And the plan wasn't designed to be popular. It was designed to be the right thing to do. You can't sustain Alberta's finances with an ongoing structural deficit of $5 billion. And every economist we talked to said, don't wait for oil prices to bounce back, because they're not coming back next year or the year after. This is like a 3 or 4 year thing. And that's bearing out. Everything we were told about oil prices has been borne out. And so we decided that we'd come up with a balanced approach, and it involved reducing the size of government, increasing the revenue of government, and eliminating waste and mismanagement, but doing it over a 3 year period. And we talked about it, whether my predilection was to do it more quickly or not is beside the point. The fact was, all the advice we got was, don't even try to do this over 12 months. Do it over 36, because otherwise you will put the province in a recession. If you move too fast to try to rebalance the budget in these circumstances, you will trip the province into a recession, because we're lurching around near a recession as it is. So we came up with a 3 year plan. In a measured way, reducing the size of government by 8.4% over 3 years. A lot of people say that's not enough in the first year. Fair enough, but that was a conscious choice. We increased the revenue profile of the government, through, I would suggest, pretty modest changes, right? For a family of 2 income earners making $120,000 a year with 2 kids, this costs $288 a year. It's less than $1 a day, and so these are for most people pretty modest. For sure, if you if you're making a lot of money, then we've asked people who can afford to pay a little more to pay a little more. But it was all done in a measured way, and we said we wouldn't ask Albertans to pay more until they saw that the government was getting its belt tightened, and so those two were measured over 3 years. This is serious. These are serious times. This is the most serious time that we've had in this province in a generation. And I've been through ups and downs. I came here in '81, my parents dropped me off downtown, and my mom and dad bought me 2 ugly suit jackets and a couple of pair of pants and said, good luck, right? In 6 months, we're into a recession. I think most of us remember that one. So I've been through the ups and downs. You know, I had a job, my wife couldn't get a job. You know, the recessions where the values of our houses go. We'll get through all that. But you can't get through it without a plan. And you can't get through it by, you know, a shell game with your public finances. So, you know, I think some of that needs to be said. And it's like your household finances, you know, and the principles I apply to this come from my own family, my own life, small businesses I've been part of, which is when your 20% of your revenue collapse, you better pull in your horns. Pull in your horns, you get things rebalanced, you figure out how to get your revenue up, get your costs down, and you take a slightly longer term perspective. So, you know, I think that's what we need to do as a province. Well, I hope they'll get out and vote on May 5th, because it doesn't get any more serious than this in terms of the issues we're facing and you know, as I say, the competing visions of the province that are on the table. One of them is the full-on NDP vision of where this province is going. The other is a conservative vision. You know, and I think that should engage people. I hope it engages people. I don't think this is an NDP province. I think people will. I don't think people feel that way either, and they will come out and vote about that. You know, as Albertans, we have been incredibly fortunate, and you know, we are going to experience a tough couple of years, but you know, as long as we have leadership and a plan and stability, we'll get through it in the same way that we have on, you know, probably 6 or 7 times in your professional career.